Well, good morning. Welcome back, everybody. Quick change in plans here, and that's why I'm a little tall. I got to step down a little. But we have Lori Horton. Believe me, she's not that short, nor am I this tall. No. She's in the studio with us this morning, teaching us how to make some sweet and salty French toast casserole. Yeah. So welcome. And
this one's so easy you could maybe even do it.
I don't know, but we'll take a look here.
You've got Mother's Day delayed, so this would be perfect. You should have made this for your wife.
I don't know if she would allow me in the kitchen. But I could give her the recipe. She'd feel better about it that way, I think.
I don't think that counts if you give her the recipe for Mother's Day. But this is one that would have been perfect for yesterday. But, maybe on just a random, hey, we still love you, Mom. You deserve more than one day a year. This would be a great Sunday morning surprise. It's perfect because you can start on it on Saturday, throw it in the fridge, and then you just have to bring it out and bake it right before you serve it.
That's not bad. Okay, no, maybe I can handle this.
I have faith in you. And this seems awkward, so we're just going to bring us both down to that.
Yeah, we're about equal height here.
We're totally ruining the magic of television here. So we're starting out this morning, though, with a very simple pre-bought store French bread, right? Anybody can grab this bakery section of your favorite grocery store. It's a dense bread, so it's a French bread, so we can do a brioche, we can do anything like that, but we want something that's going to soak up all of that good stuff we're going to pour on it and not get soggy. Okay. So keep that in mind. And all I'm going to do is go through and I'm going to cut this into some cubes, about an inch, give or take, because we are going to, as I said, make this up the day before. We want it to set and soak and just really take on all of the flavors that we're going to put in it. Now, keeping in mind, one of the flavors that we're going to use is an adult beverage.
Okay.
So if you don't want to throw that in for the kids, you can add a little extra milk, maybe some rum extract, or you can leave that out and just add some extra water altogether. But let me tell you.
So this is becoming mom's breakfast,
really. This is becoming totally mom's breakfast. And, depending on the day that she's had, she may want an extra shot of this on the side.
Keep the bottle handy.
Keep it handy. It smells so good when it is baking. And guys, the alcohol bakes out. So that's never a factor when we cook with adult beverages. But you can taste that delicious rum flavor. Okay. And as our recipe shows, when you go back later and you find this on our KOM News Now listing, it specifies a dark rum.
Okay.
And for those of us that are kind of novices when it comes to the adult beverages, there are different levels of rum. There's obviously clear, there's spiced, there's gold, there's dark. We want the dark because it really does have a better flavor.
Okay, see, I'm a novice myself. I didn't know there were so many varieties.
I know. You can kind of glaze over when you go into the liquor store, but ask for help. you want the dark. And it's going to leave behind that good flavor after that alcohol bakes out. So that's what we're going for. So we're going to cut this into some fat slices, and then we're going to cut this into some cubes. And what this will do is actually fill up our whole 9x13 pan here with some cubes of that bread. When we come back, what we're going to make is a really yummy, almost custard that we're going to pour over the top of that. And that's what we're going to soak overnight. Okay. It's going to have our rum in it. It's going to have some good flavors. Before we bake it is when we put that crunchy, sweet and salty topping on there. And that's what's going to really set it off.
It's looking really good. All right.
It's not often we bake with rum and Frosted Flakes, but I have found a way to do it today.
You don't want to eat the Frosted Flakes with the rum. Okay. That's good information. Lori, thank you. And of course, we will continue this recipe when you join us on Fox 14 at 7 a.m. I will be back with more of the KOM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOM Morning News. Lori Horton back in the studio with this recipe for a sweet and salty French toast casserole. So we started it earlier.
We did. And we got all of our bread all cut up and ready to go. You'll see it really fills up.
They're in cubes.
They're in cubes, nice and even. This is just a 9x13 plain old just disposable pan. You can do this a little fancier if you're doing this at home for mom. Use your glass dish, bakes fine. But if you are taking this somewhere and you're using this aluminum pan, you'll notice I've got mine on a cookie sheet because it's heavy. You don't want to try to get this into the oven with liquid.
Oh, yeah, no.
As it is. So just keep that in mind. Our next step is going to be our custard, our filling that's going to go in with that. So I'm starting out with a lot of eggs. There's 8 eggs there. And as we've talked about before, anytime we are baking, we use large eggs. I'm just going to take my whisk and kind of break those yolks and give that a little mix to kind of get that started. I'm going to add to it a couple cups of heavy whipping cream. Measuring well here.
That looks like a couple of cups. That's how I cook the whole time.
You know, it's a quart. I've already used 2 cups, so math tells me that should be 2 cups left in there. We're going to mix these a little bit as we go. Now, this is the adult beverage part of our show. We have a lot of rum. That is a half a cup of dark rum. We're going to dump that right in there. And you will see a little reaction to that with your dairy product. So keep whisking.
Okay.
That alcohol has got to get well mixed in. And then we're going to come back with some milk. So this is a heavy, you know, obviously a very rich recipe.
Yes.
You're going to want to make small servings of this. It's a lot. I know.
That you can smell the rum now.
Right?
It just hits you.
It really does. Luckily, that alcohol is going to bake out, and it's just going to leave that really rich, flavorful bit behind. So we're safe there. Don't worry. You can have as much of this as you want and still drive home. It's all good. We're going to add that whole milk because, again, when we bake large eggs, whole milk. Never skimp, never do 1% or skim. We need that fat in there. And then we've got just a little dash of some cinnamon, some nutmeg, and a little bit of salt.
Okay.
So that's going to start to kind of cut a little bit of that sweetness, but it's going to give us those rich flavors. You can sort of smell the spices take over a little bit of the rum.
Yeah, you can smell the cinnamon now. Because at first that rum hits. Now you can smell that cinnamon.
Yeah, it's a little more Christmassy, a little bit less New Year's Eve. So we're going to just get all of that really well incorporated, get that whisk out of the way, and then we're going to pour this over the top of that bread. And it's going to fill this pan well, but not to a dangerous level. So really get it over all of the bread. And then we got to put this in the fridge. We're going to cover it with plastic wrap. We're going to put it in the fridge for at least 6 hours. But that's the beauty of this one. You can do this the night before. It can set 12, 14 hours without any problem at all in the fridge. So don't feel like it's only 6 hours.
Okay.
And I'm going to take this and just slowly start to pat that down. And when we come back, we'll make that topping.
All right. Sounds good. As Lori mentioned, we will be right back. Welcome back. Of course, Lori Horton back with us. We've got this incredible sweet and salty French toast casserole.
So good.
And so we're picking up where we left off.
Yeah, so we've got all of that yummy filling in there that's going to bake. I shouldn't say filling. It's almost like a custard. Some families are bread pudding families. Are you a bread pudding family?
Sure,
mom?
Maybe.
This is very similar to a bread pudding. So, you make your French toast and you soak your slices and then you bake them or put them in the skillet. But really, bread pudding is just French toast in the oven. So this is kind of that in-between casserole. You can call it what you want to. But the twist on it is this nice crunchy topping. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not often that we make a recipe where we can combine alcohol and frosted flakes. But we found a way to do it. And let me tell you, it is so worth it. So we would normally cover this with just saran wrap, put it in the fridge and let that sit 6 to 12 hours. And when it comes out, it's going to have a really good soak on all of that bread. But you want to kind of take a spatula before you get ready to put it in the oven and just really press that bread down and make sure that it is fully soaked and all of your cubes have some of that yummy goodness kind of in them. The topping is about 2.5 cups of frosted flakes, and you don't really need to crunch those or anything. They're small pieces. But we're going to add to that about 1/2 cup or so of pretzels. And of course, you don't want great big pieces of pretzel in there.
No.
So take out your aggressions on that. Get those pretzels crunched up really well and mix those together with just a little dash of salt and some melted butter. What you end up with in my finest Tupperware for you guys today is this really nice mixture that's going to toast on the top. And so you're just going to get a light topping of that on there. You don't need a heavy coating. If you really love this, you could make more of it, you know, up that amount, a little bit more butter so that it's really coated, a little bit more pretzels. Do that ratio however you like it to the sweet versus salty, but I think the salty really helps cut that over the top sweetness of the cereal. But the Frosted Flakes are so good on there. And then with no covering on there, we're going to put this in a 350-degree oven. And it's going to bake for a little while. This is going to bake for like 50 to 65 minutes.
Okay.
Now, again, depends a little bit on the weather, and we've talked about this before of how the barometer, all of the things can make a huge difference when we bake. This one I baked yesterday, and it was about spot on 50 minutes. So kind of on the low side, because the air is really changing right now. So what you want to gauge that by, if you'll see the top, your crunch is nice and golden, but you also can see some of the pieces of your bread cubes that are poking through are nice and golden on the top as well.
Yes, they are.
It'll still have just a little bit of a jiggle when you pull it out of the oven, but that's going to continue to bake and set as it's on the counter. So that's why it's really important. Again, as I said, it's heavy. So I've put mine on a cookie sheet. I didn't bake it on the cookie sheet. I just very carefully transferred it and then back to it when it came out. This is a 2 hands, 2 oven mitts sort of a scenario.
Okay, because you don't want to dump this out and have a big mess.
You do not want this all over your kitchen floor. But let me tell you, just the nuttiness and the little bit of butter on those Frosted Flakes, so good. It's as good as the rest of it. So really give it a shot.
All right, Lori, thank you so much. And of course, we'll have this recipe on our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. And of course, you can check Lori out at the website you see down there. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.